Where the heck am I? Where did you drag us to? How am I supposed to talk about Aaron Rodgers getting cut from the Jets? How are we supposed to talk about this weekend Knicks? What am I going to do here?
Bro, where are you? I've been calling you all day.
I am in the middle of nowhere. What am I going to do here? I guess I'll be doing this then. We got reruns to play.
Yo, welcome to the show where the energy's flown. It's your boy dropping heat. This is the Ozone. Step into the arena where legends are made. From the courts to the fields, watch the highlights played. Football, hoops, baseball, it's all fair game. If it's sports, we bring the fire, put respect on the name. Stats and debates, we break it all down. From the rookies to the GOATs who wear the crown. No halftime, all ground, we're setting the tone. It's prime time, baby, you're in the Ozone. Yo, it's passion, precision, the plays we dissect. From the underdogs, grinding to the Hall of Fame vets. This is more than a podcast, it's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right, welcome to the Ozone.
You have entered the Ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go, baby. We are here. And you guys have officially entered the Ozone. It's your boy Omar. Here in parts unknown in Florida, but you know what? I'm always with my road dog, my co-host, super producer Dave himself. Brother, I'm lost. My connection is not that great,
You
but
know how
it's a
many
new
times I
week.
lost you?
How we feeling?
You know how many times I lost you yesterday trying to get you? Like I got on the phone with you, the call dropped. We made a bit yesterday about this, but it actually was true. I just kept losing you, and I can't keep doing this, bro.
I don't know where I am. Mom, I'm okay, Mom. I'm okay. I got all five fingers. All 10 fingers and 10 toes. I'm good. But you know who's not okay? Our boy Aaron Rodgers, because it's been announced this week that Aaron Rodgers has officially got the boot out of New York as the Jets said. So long, my friend. Aaron Rodgers is now officially a free agent. Brother, overall, before we get into the details of this nightmare of a part of Aaron Rodgers' career in Jets history, first initial reactions when you heard the Jets were parting ways with Aaron Rodgers.
Honestly, everyone knows me. I'm officially the Jets hater, number one hater, probably. Um, Honestly, this is a good move for the Jets. They need to move on. They This is me being realistic. This is me a lover of football. They need to move on. They just have to get rid of that. The only thing that sucks, and we'll get into this later on, is there is going to be a hit for letting him walk. There is something they have to pay for that, and it's a matter of how they choose to go about it. Whether they want to pay all of it up front, or if they want to pay a little bit now, a little bit more later. We'll go into that later, but it's just like you said before, cut the band-aid off or rip it off actually, and just let him go.
Yeah, I get the initial excitement. He came in with a lot of buzz. Wow. He came in with a lot of buzz. Aaron Rodgers, it was still looked at, at that time, 2 years ago, that the Jets was a quarterback away. You know, for those that believed, I was one of them, that they were a quarterback away from actually being able to do special things. The Jets are so desperate; they're a desperate franchise to just try to, just try to get some relevancy and just try to get some respect back into the franchise. So I get it. I was one initially coming in happy, but it was just doomed, man. I think it was doomed from the beginning. It's sad when the only highlight of Aaron Rodgers' Jets career we can come up with is him with the American flag on 9/11. That's it. Like there is just there's no other highlight. If you ask a real Jet fan, there is literally no highlight or there's nothing that you can think of when you go, okay, what was your best Aaron Rodgers Jets moment? It just wasn't there. Injuries played a huge part in it. And then when he was healthy, some people say he was still suffering from the Achilles. It just wasn't. It wasn't even a. The Jets didn't even get a good Aaron Rodgers. They got a hobbled, Aaron Rodgers that looks more closer to retirement than more of him defying father time, as Tom Brady did when he was in Tampa.
And I'm gonna put this tweet up so you guys can see. This is from Bill Barnwell, and this is the summary of Aaron Rodgers' tenure as a Jet. 2 second-round picks. That's what you gave away, right? $75 million. The contract for Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Tim Boyle, another third-round pick, and 11.6 million for Devontae Adams. A year plus with Nathaniel Hackett as his offensive coordinator, who he requested, who he wanted, his guy. We all know he was a bum, but he wanted him back. And you know what that resulted in? 5 wins. That's what you got.
Yeah. Now that we know his time is done, now people want to compare it to another a Hall of Famer right now, another former Green Bay Packer great that went to the New York Jets, and that's Brett Favre. And the topic this past week for Jet fans and just New York sports radio and everything has been who had and the bar is so low in this one, bro. But it was who had the I guess the worst Jets run or the best Jets run, or basically which run would Jets fans find more fondly of. And we'll go over the numbers. You touched on Rodgers basically his first full season. We're not even going to count the 4 snaps he played in his first season. That just doesn't count. I'm not even sure he passed the ball in any of those 4 snaps. I don't know. But we're looking at the first full seasons, and David's going to have the graphic up, according to StatHead, where Aaron Rodgers, obviously he played one more game, so he had about 60 more snaps than Brett Favre. But you look at the numbers, and boy, are they're not what they played their last years in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, as you touched on, was 5-12. Brett Favre's record was 9-7. The completion percentage is it's Favre has a 2 point advantage, but it's very close. Rodgers 63 to Favre's 65. Passing yards, they're about the same at 6.7 yards per game. Like I said, Rodgers has maybe about 400 plus more passing yards, and touchdowns, and interception ratio. Rodgers has that, but you look at the rushing attempts, rushing yards, and that sort of stuff. It's just whatever. You're not thinking of Favre and Rodgers as Michael Vick. But the thing that difference, and I think Jet fans would think more fondly of Brett Favre's, is because they actually won. Now they didn't make the playoffs that year. They finished 9-7, but that Brett Favre team also had the mighty Patriots. Now you could probably say Aaron Rodgers had to deal with the mighty Bills, but the Jets had success against the Bills. You know what I mean? Like the Jets have had success against the Bills. The Jets did beat the Bills that game where he played 4 snaps. So the Jet, you know what I mean? It's a very different NFL. Um, but I think Favre, I think you think more fondly of Favre's Jets run because they actually won a few games, and you can highlight a few things about that. But the bar is very low when it comes to whose Jets career was better, Favre or Rodgers. If anything, that I can recall, bro, and I'll let you speak on it after this, is I don't remember Favre bringing in all his buddies. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Rodgers, where you touched on Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, Lazard, Nathaniel Hackett as the coordinator. I don't remember Favre bringing in all the Jets didn't accommodate Brett Favre that much as they did Aaron Rodgers. Now the only thing is Aaron Rodgers wasn't sending private parts to executives
And
he wasn't
scheming
sending
people for
private
their
parts
money.
saying, yeah, or scamming welfare people. So we're not, but we're talking about in a football perspective. Um, I would just think more fondly of Brett Favre's run more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, when your team is not good, when you happen to miss the playoffs, and Omar, you and me can attest to this. Recently, for the Patriots, they haven't been making the playoffs. Giants haven't been in for a little bit, and they look like they're making changes. Maybe we'll see what happens. The point is, when your team is not in it and they're not winning, it that makes the season even longer. You suffer. You just like at this point, fantasy is the best outlook, and sometimes that's not even a good thing. Sometimes, but it makes your season a lot better when you at least look like you're in contention for something. You're putting up games. You're making it interesting for the fan. When you see that you've only won 5 games and you're the mighty Aaron Rodgers, who many have said is their GOAT, and all you got was 5 wins, I don't know. The thing that you could turn to if you are an Aaron Rodgers fan, the thing you could turn to if you've been doing the comparison, especially with Favre, is when Favre, after he left the Jets, he went to Minnesota and went on a nice run with them. Got to the playoffs, had a really good run when he was there. So if you're an Aaron Rodgers fan, you're gonna assume, okay, maybe the next team he goes to, he has a better run. But here's where it makes it interesting: who wants Aaron Rodgers? Now, don't get me wrong. There's probably a team that is desperate for a quarterback, and they can settle for him for 1 year, maybe two. I don't know how much you want out of a 40-year-old Rodgers, because it's different when you have another 40-year-old player who was playing at the top of his thing and won a championship the year before he ended up retiring. That's Tom Brady. You don't know what you're getting with Aaron Rodgers coming off of an Achilles that late into his career. You think of what teams may want him, the Raiders, but then you can go to the Raiders and bring over Devontae Adams. He just left them to go join you. So it's very
Right.
interesting. And then Tom Brady owns Aaron Rodgers again, if that's the case, if he ends up going there, since he's the owner.
Yeah. And you touched on what we were going to talk about next, and that is what's next for the Jets. And I forgot to mention this when, we're talking about the Favre and Aaron Rodgers situation, and that's Brett Favre did have an injury. I believe the Jets were 6-2. So the Jets were rolling, and I believe that's when Brett Favre got hurt, and so on and so forth happened. Um, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get another crack, bro. I think people are going to look at it. Okay, this past season was his first season coming back from the Achilles. Achilles is really, in all sports, even in basketball, you look at it like for guys that bounce back from their Achilles normally takes 2 years. I could see, I could see a team. It'd be funny like the Raiders or even a Tennessee or maybe possibly Cleveland or possible. Let's not rule this out. You mentioned Favre went to the Minnesota Vikings. Don't rule out Aaron Rodgers going to the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think that'd be a bad pairing. I don't see that being a bad pairing. I
Justin
don't. You know
Jefferson,
what I mean? Yeah,
Addison.
because if you look at it, this is a perfect thing to do. You got him, and then you're gonna have JJ McCarthy, watching and learning and that sort of thing. And I personally like him in Minnesota. I think Aaron Rodgers, you giving him those guys that you mentioned, I think he can do well.
Yeah.
So we are to see when it comes to the Jets. I heard, and this is what I heard from just going through Twitter, looking at, how you get certain feeds from local teams and that sort of thing. I heard a little birdie said the Jets might try to trade up and get Cam Ward. But we'll leave it at that. We've done enough talking about the Jets. Let's talk about a New York
Hold
team
on.
that's actually
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So real quick,
Uh-oh.
I want to touch two things about the Jets, and it's more so just like logistics, and I'm trying to be fair to Jets fans. So here's one
You
thing that
trying to
I
be
brought
fair
up
to Jet
earlier.
fans?
I'm trying to be fair to Jets fans. It brings me their pain brings me like so much joy. But let's be realistic. I love football, so let's talk about this. So if you cut Aaron Rodgers, you have a deadline of when you can cut him, and it depends on what you end up getting. If you end up cutting him now or before June 1st of this year, you're hit with a $49 million cap hit. Now,
Ooh.
if you wait until after, then you would get have the option to pay him $14 million this year, and that's a $14 million cap hit, and then $35 million the following year. Now, obviously, nobody wants to lose $35 million for a player who's not there already a year removed, but there are options that they can consider. Some people and a lot of like I see Jets like sports pages and news outlets and stuff, they're saying just cut the band-aid and get that $40 million hit now, and go from there, and then maybe make that trade up and get that quarterback that you may want. It's better than getting, paying 35 million for a quarterback who is now on another team or maybe retired. Like, you don't want that situation. Um,
Yeah,
Speaking with the
it's
Jets as
messy.
well, their ranking as far as where they're going to be drafting is number 7, and there is no quarterback that is relevant in that top 10. The only person right now it's projected Tennessee Titans are going with Cam Ward, and then Shador Sanders is going to the Giants at number 3. Right now, they're projected to go get Will Johnson, and he is a cornerback that they can pair him up with Sauce Gardner. They are both lengthy cornerbacks, and from all he is going to be the top projected cornerback outside of Travis Hunter. So maybe you want a shutdown defense. Maybe that's where you want to head. You have a defensive minded coach, so that's where you may end up going. But if I'm the Jets, if I was put in those miserable shoes, I would just say, just let's take the hit right now. Let's rebuild, this year and then go into the next year. That's just how I would approach it.
Brother, you sound like you care for the Jets. And I'm proud of you. But you know what one team we do care about? That's our New York Knicks. And they had an interesting couple weeks. And somebody got real perfect. Let's talk about it on This Week in Knicks.
This Week in Knicks.
All right, This Week in Knicks, as I touched on, somebody had a perfect prediction. And it wasn't your boy. Dave, you were perfect. You predicted 2-1. You predicted wins over Houston. Was it Houston, Toronto, and
Yep.
you had us losing to the Celtics?
Yeah.
I also had 2-1, but I had a loss to Houston, a win from on Toronto, and a win from the Celtics. But I was wrong. So this week is going to go to Dave. So Dave is obviously gonna upload the current standings right now in the chicken tenders battle. Also, guys, while we were recording the Super Bowl preview show, the Knicks, we didn't cover the last 2 games that the Knicks played, which they got wins over um, the Indiana Pacers and the Atlanta Hawks, where they beat the Pacers at Indiana 128-115, and then the overtime thriller shootout against the Atlanta Hawks where they won 149-148. So basically, brother, the Knicks have had in their last 5 games, they're 4-1. The Knicks right now have a record going into the All-Star break, as we know, we of 36-18. How are we feeling?
I feel good, but it's not so much like, okay, yeah, had a perfect record. Yeah, that's great. We still lost against the Celtics, and I have a problem with that just because this is something that concerns me as we get nearer. We're now at the halfway mark. As we get nearer to the, getting to the playoffs. Now, it's not to say that I don't think we can compete against Boston. It's just to say that if this is what we're going to see against them, I'm concerned, but there is something that I did prefer since going into that, and it's because we didn't have OG. We weren't fully healthy. That's not always a guarantee when you lead into the playoffs, but I feel like this team can compete with the Boston Celtics. They just need to make something happen. They also were down some players too, so it's not just like, oh, we were down OG. They were also down some players too, Drew and Porzingis. So it's just it's something that concerns me, and I don't honestly at this point. If you ask me, I don't want to play the Celtics anywhere near that first round, near the second round. Just if we can play them like right there at the conference championships,
Eastern
I
Conference?
prefer
Yeah.
that. I just yeah, I just
All
I
right.
don't want to touch that team right now.
This thing with the Knicks is I couldn't agree with you more. The problem that I'm having is not the fact that we're not beating the Celtics. It is what it is. We're getting smoked by the Celtics. It's a difference where, and I get it, like we're at this point where there's no moral victories. We are looked at as a team that can contend for the Eastern Conference, arguably contend and make the NBA Finals. And I say that arguably because when we say that, people think that we're picking the Knicks to go to the finals. When you say arguably, means you have a valid argument to defend that. That's what that means. Doesn't say, oh, the Knicks are making the finals. So I just wanted to preface that really quickly. Because the narrative out there, the media narrative outside of the Minutes Police and Tom Thibodeau's running guys to the ground, is that the Knicks can't beat the contenders. However, we've beaten Houston. We've beaten Denver. We've beaten Memphis. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's like we've beaten those teams. However, we're not contenders. But then you get performances like the Celtics. And this is where I say, yeah, there's contenders and then there's the Celtics. The Celtics are the standard right now. They are the defending champions. Now, the league wants to pin Cleveland there with them. But unless they prove otherwise, I'm not sweating Cleveland. I'm not sweating Cleveland. The Celtics is a bad matchup for us. The Celtics are just, they're better. And as you touched on, that is scary because, like I said, it'd be different if we're playing tight games. But we're not. The first game of the season, okay, it is what it is. This is the first time everybody's played against each other. I was really looking forward to this matchup because we had already been more than 40 games in. Guys are adjusted, but then we don't have OG. But as you touched on, they don't have Drew Holiday and Porzingis. So we can't use that excuse. Drew Holiday is a thorn on the Knicks side because his intangibles and him being strong enough to guard a cat, but him also being quick enough to where he can guard a Brunson. Then you have Porzingis who stretches the floor more. So I'm not going to use that excuse. Now I get it. We're going to be getting Mitchell Robinson back, and then with OG back, things may look different. However, I can't go into another Celtics matchup really confident when we got smoked by 60, basically combined with the two losses. This Knicks team is very good. We're just probably not on the Celtics level now. Not saying we won't get there, but right now we're not. And as you said, brother, I would love to avoid the Celtics at least to the conference finals. But the way the standings are looking now, Cleveland is 44-10. They have a 5.5 game lead on the Celtics, on the two side, where the Celtics are 39-16. The Knicks are 36-18 in the three hole, and they're 8 games behind first place Cleveland Cavaliers. I think the best case scenario for us would be if we can maybe jump over the Celtics. Where, okay, if we have to face the Celtics in the second round, let's see if we can get home court. That's going to be a tough hill to climb. I just can't see Cleveland. Obviously, best case scenario would be Cleveland gets into a little skid. They drop out of the first seed, and that leaves the first seed maybe open for the Celtics. Then that's a way where we avoid them into the conference finals. But honestly, bro, it's looking like a second round matchup with the Celtics. Now, obviously, I've watched sports for a lot of years. The regular season is not going to dictate how the postseason can go. There are still 30 plus games to go. We're talking the NBA, guys. Injuries can happen. Anything can happen. Teams get on hot runs. But right now, as of this airing of this video, of this episode, which is February 17th, the Celtics are head and shoulders above the New York Knicks. There's not even a debate. I'm not even going to argue that. As much as I would love to argue that point and really rock with New York, we're just not there. Now, let's talk about, but they're going to have a chance to prove themselves because this week they have 3 tough games coming out of the All-Star break. They get a light one. They get a light one Thursday. They face the Chicago Bulls at the Garden. That's a 7:30 start time. Then Friday, back to back against the Cleveland Cavaliers at Cleveland. That's going to be a test. And then you have a rematch Sunday, February 23rd, against the Celtics at Boston. That game, and I apologize, 2 weeks ago, I forgot to mention that the Knicks were going to be on national television. This Knicks game against the Celtics will be on national television for those that have Optimum that are still struggling to get the Knicks. The Cleveland game, I believe the Cleveland game is also on ESPN. Don't quote me. I believe it is. But the Bulls game is MSG, so guys figure it out, IPTV it up, whatever, do whatever. Um, so brother, this is gonna be a tough one. We might have to be really realistic with our predictions on this one, but I'll let you get the floor. You're the leader, I believe, in the standings right now. So
Yeah,
Bulls in the Garden, Cleveland at Cleveland back to back. So factor that in your thinking. And then Sunday against the Celtics. What do you got? It's not easy. It's not
it's
easy.
not easy because I want to say, all right, playing against the Bulls, so we got to play against Hide Your Daughters, Josh Giddey, and the team. Um, I think we take the Bulls. I really do. So that's one right there. And then we got to play.
Sorry,
We got to
that.
play Cleveland. Honestly,
Hide
I
your
want to
underage
go.
daughters at that.
I want to go 2-1 again. I don't want us to
Okay.
lose against the Celtics. I would love. I can't change my prediction as of right now. As of right now,
Don't
we don't
don't
know
be
anything about
don't be
OG.
yeah, don't
Yeah,
be me
I'm not
too,
gonna go
what,
back
two,
and
three
forth.
weeks ago. Yeah.
That
I
was
know
like a
what you
5 minute
want. We
segment.
want a 3-0 week. We want a 3-0 week, but you
I
gotta be
do.
realistic. What do
So
you think?
realistically, I'm going 2-1. I think we beat the Bulls, we beat the Cavs, and we lose against the Celtics. I do hope I'm wrong in that prediction, and I will preface that. I really hope I'm wrong, and we go 3-0. And OG is healthy, and we just beat the Celtics. At least give us a chance to at least like look optimistic going into the playoffs if should we play against
Yeah.
Cleveland. I mean, sorry, Celtics. So my prediction: 2-1. We lose against the Celtics. We beat the Bulls and Cavaliers.
Um, this is a tough one as well. I'm going 2-1 as well, but I'm going a little different. I got us beating the Bulls. I got us beating the Bulls. I don't know. Like I said, you know how I am with back to backs. I don't like them. I wish we had Cleveland on the first end. I would. Oh my God. I wish we had Cleveland on the first end. And this is like I'm gonna get a little sidebar. This is what gets me mad. This is what really gets me mad about the narratives of the Knicks not being able to beat the bad teams because I got them losing to Cleveland. And but people aren't gonna factor in, okay, that loss to Cleveland was a second of a back to back. So your team now has to travel at night. You have to fly in. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to fly out to Cleveland after that Bulls game. So it's probably, you think about it, 11:30 midnight, whatever. And I get it. Those guys are flying charter planes. They're not flying commercial, but still, you're getting into a town the early times of the morning. You get the rest. You probably, more than likely Tibbs is probably not going to have a practice or a shoot around because you want to give your guys fresh legs. Now, I don't know if Cleveland's coming off a back to Cleveland has a game if they're playing on
Yes, they're playing the
Thursday
Nets.
what was that?
They're playing the Nets. The day before
In Cleveland or in Brooklyn?
they are playing them in Brooklyn.
Okay, so you know what? There's no excuse. Both teams are coming from the same place. They're both going to be playing bum teams. So everything you just heard me say, forget it. I like that. I feel like now it's an even playing field then. Okay. Um. Wow, that changes a lot. That changes a lot. Um. I'm gonna stick with my prediction, 2-1. I got the Knicks beating in a tight one. I want to preface that they're gonna lose a really tight game to Cleveland. I think it's gonna be something where um, they are they might blow the game. That might be a game where we're so upset that like how did we blow this game? Kind of like the first meeting with Cleveland. We were in control that whole game, and Garland went off in the fourth quarter. But I think we lose to Cleveland, and I think we get back against Boston. I'm already. I said that last time. But I think the Knicks were so embarrassed. The way I heard Josh Hart talk in his podcast about that, it really seems to me like the Knicks are going to take this one a little bit more personal. Hopefully, we should have OG Anunoby back, and hopefully we might get Mitch back. Looking at video of him running and he's posting up, maybe we get Mitch back. So I'm going 2-1. I'm going Knicks win Toronto against Chicago, loss to Cleveland, and a win against the Celtics. Um, yeah, so that's what I got. Brother, it's been a couple weeks. I felt like I've been really well behaved these last couple episodes. But I'm going off the
Where you
script.
going? Where are you going with this?
I'm going off the script. I'm letting you know right now because people have been waiting for this. We're on episode 10, and I have yet to go off on Screaming A. Smith.
I'm so sick of these people. You know, oh!
Yes, I'm talking to you. Hairline, big forehead, don't know nothing. Oh, I brag about my ratings, but your show goes against no competition. You do not represent the Knicks fan base. I'm sick of Stephen A. Smith. This man goes on ESPN this past week and talks about how he's disgusted
I'm so damn disgusted.
with the Knicks franchise. Oh, we're this. Oh, we're now 148 points. Brother, I seen a video the other day where the Knicks were 5-36 5 years ago. 5 wins, 36 losses. And you want to talk about, you want to say that you're a Knicks fan. How the heck do you, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Don't blur this out. How do you have the balls to go and say you're disgusted with this Knicks team that currently stands 36-18? This is the best record the Knicks have had going into an All-Star break since 1973. How can you sit there as a Knicks fan and say you're disgusted with a team with that record when we've had Knicks teams that gone into All-Star breaks with 5 wins, 11 wins, 17 wins? And you got the nerve to say you're disgusted with this team? You're disgusted with Tom Thibodeau? You're disgusted with Leon Rose? Guys that have changed the narrative about this Knicks team? You're not a Knicks fan. He's not. New Yorkers know that. The rest of y'all take Stephen A as the spokesperson for Knicks. He's not. I've been to games when I've seen Stephen A. Smith leave in the third quarter in Madison Square Garden. This man is not a Knicks fan. This man just goes on TV and parades himself. Go New York, go New York. No, it's an act. No Knicks fans mess with this dude. That's why he gets salty when Kendrick Perkins puts him in his place. That's why he always referenced, oh, I was a Knicks fan before when you had Salinak or whatever that whack-ass reference, or when you had Salinak behind your ear or whatever, when he uses that stupid whatever saying that, when old people are trying to make a point. Bro, I've been waiting for this moment. And I was like, there's been many episodes where I had a time to come at Stephen A. Smith. But I was waiting for the one, and this was the one. Shut your ass up, Stephen A. Smith. You are so commercial. Your basketball points make no sense anymore. We know you don't watch the games. We know you goddamn don't even know who comes off the bench on the Knicks team. So shut your ass up, fix that hairline, and carry the hell on, as Kendrick Perkins would say. Brother, I'm back. I had to let that off.
Well, let's be nice.
Yeah.
Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
Chess.
All right, let's bring you back. I am a fan of Stephen A, but when it comes to the showmanship, and I get it, it's colorful, it's TV. I you do too much, Stephen. And while I appreciate the comedy that you are and what you bring to the game, I'm sure you've had a lot of experiences that if I were to sit down with you, you can break me down like a lot of things that you experienced as a reporter, as a beat writer for the Eagles, and all that stuff. Yada yada yada. The point is, when it comes to the Knicks, you put on a show and everyone takes it as face value. That's not Knicks fans. So
That's exactly what it
that's
is.
all I gotta say about
That's
that.
exactly. It's all show. It's literally all show at this point. But you know what's not all show? It's the best segment on the show, baby, and that's quick hits. All right, y'all. It's quick hits. You know this is where we cover everything that's going on in sports and entertainment. You know the hits are so quick, you don't see it coming. All right, y'all. So this past weekend, the All-Star Game festivities began with the traditional three-point competition, the dunk competition, and the skills challenge. We saw that the skills challenge, the Cleveland Cavaliers won. Chris Paul and Wembanyama cheated their way. And then the three-point contest, our very own Jalen Brunson stunk the bed. And, Miami Heat, Tyler Hero won the three-point competition. And Matt McClung, G Leaguer, wins his third slam dunk winner. Brother, what'd you think of the night overall, and what's your thoughts on the winners?
Jalen Brunson, you let me down, my hero. Honestly, it's I like the All Star Weekend for what it is. The All Star Game isn't what it used to be, and it's just I don't know if you're ever going to get back to what it could be. But as far as the festivities and everything else, I do enjoy the skills competition, the dunk contest, 3 point contest. They're all fun to watch, and I think a lot of us can agree that's the night that we look forward to the most. Speaking of All Star Saturday, there was no WNBA versus the NBA 3 point shoot off this year. According to ESPN, Shams, NBA Mike Bask decided to call it off due to the league unable to raise the bar off of last year's special battle between Sabrina Ionesco and Steph Curry. Omar, what are we thinking?
Honestly, real talk, this is all Caitlin Clark declining to do it. You heard the rumors even from when Sabrina and Steph went against each other last year. Hey, once Clark gets in the league, let's do Sabrina and Clark versus the Splash Brothers. Klay Thompson was an All-Star weekend. He didn't participate, but he was there in San Francisco. I think that was the plan, and I think once Caitlin Clark declined it, the NBA, just saw, hey, look, there's no other way to raise the bar. So I blame Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry. I blame her why we don't have it. This past week, Alex Bregman, he found a home as he signed a 3-year, $120 million deal with the hated Red Sox. Dave, does this move make the Red Sox a legit AL contender?
Let's see. They move him to second base, which he's only played, I believe, 9 games at this point in his career. Um, Honestly, they do make him a contender, and honestly, baseball's better when the rivalry between the Yankees and Red Sox is hot. So I do think this makes them better, and we'll see where it goes from there. I don't want them to be great, but I do want some competition when we do play those games. That makes those usually are weekend games, and I love to see those games go on. Um, we'll go from there. Let's see what happens. Royal Rumble winners Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair pick their opponents for WrestleMania. Jey Uso is going to be facing against Gunther, and Charlotte against Tiffany Stratton. Tiffy time. Are we feeling these matches?
I'm feeling the Charlotte Tiffany Stratton match. That's definitely, it reminds me of when Charlotte fought Rhea a few years ago. Where hey, you gotta have the standard, which is Charlotte Flair against the Prodigy against the next coming star. So I'm with that. Now I hope Tiffany Stratton gets the win, and we'll talk about that. I think, brother, sidetrack. I think we should do a WrestleMania preview show as we did the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was such a success. So we will be doing that. We will be touching WrestleMania as a whole once we get to WrestleMania season. But I do like that match. The Jey Uso and Gunther, I think everybody saw that coming the minute Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. Unfortunately, WWE was not going to give Jey Uso and Cody. That would have been a good match because that would have just threw everyone off, and I think WWE don't want to touch that because I think WWE would be afraid that fans would actually boo Cody. That's how over Jey Uso is. But I'll take it. Jey Uso and Gunther have put on some classics, and I'm okay with that. What about you, real
Yeah,
fast?
I like Gunther against Jey Uso. I'm a big fan of Gunther, and I know it's going to be a great match between them. I'm ready to see 10 super kicks from Jey Uso in that match. Let's see if there's an over under bet that we place that one. And then Tiffany Stratton, I think they're ready to put the rocket on her back, and Charlotte Flair is, if there's anybody who's going to help her get there, it's going to be her. So I'm ready to see Tiffany Stratton go to the next level, and hopefully it's a great match for everyone.
Yeah, let's see. All right, guys. According to CBS News, on some serious stuff, two people were shot at the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl parade this past Friday. It's unclear now what led to the shooting or the condition of the two victims that were shot. Brother, should the league pivot from championship celebration parades to more of a prep rally sort of event at the team's local stadium?
This is not so much a criticism of Philly fans, and they do get the knock for being wild and like respect their city and stuff like that. But this happened at the Chiefs parade last year as well. Someone was shot, someone died, and then multiple people were injured as well. This is becoming a trend, and you hate for something like this is something to bring the city together. We're rallying, our team won, yay! But I think they should pivot and maybe do like a prep rally kind of thing at their stadium. You have a lot more control over who's coming into the stadium. You have security. It just makes things a lot easier. Celebrating the city is pretty fun, the parade and all that stuff. But I think this is something that they may have to pivot to going just to protect everyone. It's unfortunate, but this is where we're going to have to go to.
Yeah.
Um, in other news, Drake and Partynextdoor dropped a new album over the weekend. Song "Sexy for You." Oh, so some sexy songs for you. What's your thoughts, bro?
3 words. Give me a hug. That's all I gotta say. All right, y'all. Lastly, speaking of weekend releases, we got a new Captain America movie. Brother, what's your overall thoughts on Captain America Brave New World?
You know, you can't tell, and I'll pivot just real quick just to see. Like, I'm a huge Marvel fan. Um, Honestly, brother, I am upset with people. And the reason I'm upset with people regarding this movie is because a lot of trolls are just saying, like, oh, that's not my Captain America, that, he doesn't have the serum and that doesn't make him Captain America. They're just panning and trying to do this DEI hire or whatever. Like, this is a comic book character that has been written way before all this initiative was done. I think and I kind of wrote this on Twitter as well. I think if you watch this movie, you watch Mackey's performance, you hear what he actually has to say besides the action, which was really top notch. The action was really good. If you listen to what he has to stand for, how can you not say that this is a Captain America that you would want to represent you? He's not representing one fan base or one group of people or one race. He's not just after, to be pro black, but he is a black man holding that shield. So I the thing that made Captain America, and I'm really going off, but this is something that I really feel passionate about. The thing about Captain America is it has been highlighted so many times, but people miss the point. It's not the super serum. It's not that because he was able to do amazing feats. It's because at the end of the day, he was a good man. The reason he was picked to get that serum was because he was a good man, and that serum just enhanced that quality in him. They felt that he was going to make the right decisions no matter what. He was a good man at the end of the day. Sam Wilson has been dealt a tough hand to be taking up the mantle of someone who everyone loves in this universe. And at the end of the day, after all this stuff, all the trash, all the stuff that he's been dealt, he still stands for America. He still stands for everyone. He still rallies for people to be better. How can you not say that this is Captain America? IGN, you posted an article, or it was actually a Twitter link, and it actually said that Marvel doesn't get what makes Captain America America. I think you have missed the point. I think you kind of people have missed the point of what makes a character, especially like Captain America. So I am going on on a rant, but at the end of the day, this does upset me because at the end of the day, a black man who still stands for everyone besides just black men or black people, That's what you want to see in a Captain America. And if this was a real world, you would want Steve will still approve whatever he's doing. Not because that's the guy, that's not his friend, but because he's doing the right thing.
Yeah,
Omar, what are your thoughts on the movie?
I couldn't agree more. I think the narrative out there was more of yeah. It seems like the critics wanted this movie to fail. You hear all the bad reviews and everything like that, and it was such a good movie. It was such a good movie. I love the way Sam Wilson was scripted. They humanized him. Shout outs to Anthony Mackie, bro. Anthony Mackie just killed it. He killed it. Look, Captain America earned over $40 million domestic over the weekend, making it the second highest opening day for a Captain America movie. People enjoyed it. It really seemed like, honestly, bro, like you touched on it, and I don't want to get too political, but it really seemed like it was an agenda from these critics to really get this movie to pan. I think due to a black Captain America, and it didn't work because people went out and saw it and they loved it. Shout outs to Anthony Mackie. Shout outs to those that made this Captain America movie. Shout out to Marvel. They did a phenomenal job. But guys, as you
Yeah.
know, you want to add something, brother? Want to add something?
No, I'm good.
Yep.
Just guys, see the movie. But
Yeah.
vote
Watch
with
it.
your wallet.
Yeah, see it. Honestly, guys, see it. I prefer IMAX. Before we go on to highlight of the week, I prefer. I saw it. I had it on Dolby as I touched on. I switched to IMAX. I saw it on IMAX 3D. I loved it. The screen was a little bigger. What did you think? You saw it on Dolby, right, brother? Did you?
I saw it in Dolby, but this is my preferred theater that I go to all the time. I don't know what it was about this movie. Maybe they just cranked up the volume just a little bit, so it was really loud in there, and I love the sound.
Yeah,
So
it was great.
you can't go wrong with either one. IMAX, Dolby, you're gonna have a good
Yeah,
time.
I would recommend if you're going to see it on one of those platforms. But obviously, I know movies can be very expensive. So if you have to see it on your regular format or whatever, just go see it. You'll enjoy it. Guys, but we can't end an episode without sharing you guys the highlight of the week.
He's on fire!
All right, this week on Highlight of the Week is multiple highlights because we got to talk about Matt McClung, the G Leaguer who no one knows him. He pops out every All Star weekend and he shows up. This man, I'm not even going to just talk about the dunks. This man just did everything. Dave's got it right now rolling. All the dunks he did. Let's just put it like this. He hit all of them on the first attempt and he jumped over a car. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
Uh, it is an exciting time to be a white man this week. You have Cooper DeJean going off for a pick six against Patrick Mahomes, and then you have Matt McClung winning the dunk contest.
Brother,
Honestly, bro,
do you know that
look at these
Gilly
highlights.
Gilly the kid, oh man, he went to Cooper DeJean's mom and said thank you for giving birth to like a goat or something like that. He said, Yo, it's just so funny. You see this
Oh
middle-aged
man,
white woman getting hugged by Gilly the kid. It's been a good week for white
exciting
people.
whites.
It's been a good week.
This season, please, Philadelphia, give it up for the exciting Whites!
For white people.
It's
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. So,
uh yeah.
yeah. So, guys, before we wrap up, also, John Moran tweeted, "Oh, Matt McClung's about to have me come out doing a dunk contest." He tagged Anthony Edwards, and I think he tagged Zion. Honestly, bro, I'm not trying to hear that. You sound like LeBron in '09 when Nate Robinson was in the dunk contest. Oh, I'm preliminarily putting my name in the dunk contest next year, bro. Miss me with all that. I'll believe it when I see it. All these big stars are afraid to do the dunk contest. Shout out to Matt McClung because he won his third slam dunk competition, and he is a recipient of Highlight of the Week here on the Ozone. But guys, we thank you so much for tapping in with your boys. Guys, if you have anything, what's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers' situation? What's your thoughts on the Knicks this week? How are you feeling about the Knicks going into a very important week where they play the Bulls, the Cavs, and the Celtics? Let us know how you're feeling. Do you think I'm wrong about Stephen A. Smith? Do you think I'm jumping the gun? Do you think Stephen A. made some valid points about the Knicks and how we should be upset about the Knicks in their situation right now? Let us know. Let us know about all your quick hits. And yeah, hey, give us a review on Captain America. If you've seen the Captain America movie, let us know in the comments below. But guys, we thank you so much. Guys, we want you guys to subscribe. We're on 87 subscribers, guys. Get us to 100. Tell your friend to tell a friend to tell their friends to subscribe to the Ozone. Hit that bell for all notifications. Follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Guys, it's always been a pleasure for Dave and I to give you guys that fire every week, every Monday, 12 noon, and tap in with us next week. We got a brand new episode of the Ozone.
This is more than a podcast. It's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right. Welcome to the Ozone.